sue me. Sue me for being wrong. Sue me for not having an open mind for these products, and sue me for not buying and trying these products sooner. This list is a mixture of products that I've been recommended but kind of overlooked because I didn't think I would like it, or products that have been very overhyped and I avoided them because I thought they were probably not worth the hype, and also products that I have rediscovered within my makeup collection that I am loving all over again. Now, the first thing that I wish I tried sooner, and the thing that I feel like all of the girlies were right about, is incorporating more walks into my weekly routine. Now, this isn't necessarily a product, I will get to that at some point, but this I think is just as important as your external beauty, internal beauty, and taking care of your mental health and taking care of just yourself will make you feel more confident and more beautiful in your daily life. In the winter, it's really hard for me to keep up with these walks because it's colder, but now that the weather is getting warmer, I have been a lot more consistent with my daily walks, and my mental health is better, my self-confidence is better, and I just feel more in tune with myself. But the thing with warmer weather and walking more often, especially if I'm going on 1 hour long walks, is that I sweat more, and with sweat comes odor. So to avoid atrocious body odor and make my walks a little bit more enjoyable, I have been using Lumi Whole Body Deodorant, which is actually the sponsor of today's video. This deodorant was created by OBGYN Shannon Klingman for use all over your body, including your underarm, your privates, and beyond. Lumi also claims to be clinically proven to block body odor all day and continue to control BO for 72 hours. Yeah, you heard that right. And not only does it stop me from stinking, it also doesn't stain my clothes. They also have 8 different scents that you can choose from. My personal favorite is Toasted Coconut in the stick deodorant because it's a very light and airy scent. You can barely smell it on the skin, which I prefer because I don't like strong or overpowering deodorant scents. And if you are like me and you're super sensitive, if not more sensitive than me, they do have unscented versions as well. So check out Lumi's website to view their wide range of products. They also have a starter pack available, so if you're interested but you're not really sure what's gonna work for you, you can try and dabble in a little bit of everything. The pack comes with a full-size stick, cream, or spray deodorant, 2 free products like the wipes or the mini body wash, and you'll also get free US shipping. They also shared with me an extra $5 off that you can use if you click on the link in the description and use the code ELLCHEW. So even though this video is sponsored by Lumi, this is a product I truly wish I tried sooner, and I do think it's worth the hype. It has become an essential in my beauty routine. Moving on to the next product that I wish I tried sooner. Just as important as a deodorant that helps me from stinking is sunscreen that actually protects my skin from the sun. Duh, I'm feeling a little sassy today. Specifically Korean sunscreen. I wish I wore sunscreen starting like at 18 or even younger, because I do think that a lot of my skin issues would have been prevented if I had just wore sunscreen earlier. I'm so jealous of the younger generation. That makes me sound so old. If you are 12, 13, 14, 15 right now and you have the internet to tell you to wear sunscreen, that's what I'm jealous of, because I was never stressed the importance of sunscreen and how essential it was in my skincare routine until a few years ago, truthfully. And even when I started wearing sunscreen a few years ago, I struggled with finding sunscreens that had minimal white cast and weren't so heavy or sticky on the skin until I discovered Korean skincare. Like most of us, this is totally worth the hype. I love a lot of Korean sunscreens, and the majority of them, unless they're mineral, do not have a white cast. They're very smooth and transparent on the face. A lot of them are also very hydrating and look good under makeup, and they're a really good price. So I have Beauty of Joseon. I like this one. I love the Skin 1004. I've used Torten. I like that one. There's a lot of Korean sunscreens that I love, so it's completely up to you. I don't think you can go wrong with them, especially the popular ones are totally worth the hype in my opinion. The best skincare products are the ones that you are going to use every single day, and if they give you a hard time or look bad bad under makeup or just aren't practical for daily use, I'm not gonna wear it. Sorry. Now, the only problem with Korean sunscreens is that they might become more difficult to get your hands on. I know Beauty of Joseon and Skin 1004, they don't sell these anymore on their website. They have reformulated to create US versions that they're selling in store. However, you can get the Korean versions on YesStyle still, and I think Olive Young. And just speaking of Korean beauty, I wish I had tried lip tints a lot sooner, specifically K-beauty lip tints. I don't know what I was doing a few years ago. I don't know why I wasn't listening to y'all's recommendation to try Korean beauty more. My friend was like, I told you so. I knew you would like it. Why'd you wait so long? And it's just simply because I was just lost in learning about Sephora products, Ulta products, but I'm moving on to Asian beauty, and it's totally worth the hype. I think that lip tints are just so good for everyday wear. They stay in your lips, they're comfortable, they can sometimes add extra hydration and moisture. I don't like them as much when I'm doing like full glam makeup like I have on today, or when I'm like on camera, but when I just want a little bit of color on my lips and have like natural makeup days, these lip tints are everything. My current favorite is the Tear water lip tints. I also love Wake Make and Lily by Red. These were all gifted to me. Lily by Red is super cheap. It's like $6 on YesStyle. It's a great formula. These are not drying to the lips. They stain the lips. They last long. Can't get enough of them. And then we have the NYX Lip IVs, which I have been obsessed with. The only thing about like K-beauty lip tints is sometimes the shade ranges are a little iffy, especially if you are like medium, brown, deep tan skin tones, because a lot of their, preferred lip shades are very bright, saturated pink, which, I'm not the biggest fan of. I really like more muted brown, soft mauve colors, and that's where NYX Lip IVs come into the picture. These are technically not K-beauty, but they were made in South Korea, so the formula, top tier, freaking fabulous. I almost swore there. And the shade ranges are so medium, brown, tan, deep skin friendly. Y'all kept talking about these in my comments because I wasn't gonna buy them at first, but once I kept seeing more of you raving about these, I decided to buy them for myself, and now I cannot put them down. I love the shade Hydra Honey, but I also love the shade Mocha Me Wet. This is the one that I wore in my last video, and you guys were asking what it was. Mocha Me Wet, okay? This is like a grungy, cool tone brown, and then Hydra Honey is like a cool tone, pinky brown mauve situation. These are not drying. They're so comfortable on the lips. They give you just like this beautiful glassy gloss. They leave a little bit of a stain, but the gloss also lasts for quite a few hours. So if you like the idea of Korean lip tints, but you want a color that's going to be more flattering on your skin tone, and you prefer a shade range that is a little bit more muted, brown, and unsaturated, NYX Lip IVs. So freaking good. These are like, I would say probably like top product of the year that I've tried so far. Not only do I recommend this, but I think I prefer it over a high-end product. It is the Maybelline Superstay Hybrid Powder Foundation. I bought this in one of my drugstore shopping makeup budget videos. If you've been watching me for a while, you know what I'm talking about. And it's just been sitting in my drawer. I would use it every once in a while, but never really got into it because I constantly was reaching for my Makeup Forever powder foundation. That was my favorite powder foundation, and I still recommend it if you want a full coverage, velvety, soft matte powder foundation. However, if you're on a budget and you don't like how cakey the Makeup Forever one might look or how heavy it might look and feel, Maybelline Superstay is so freaking good. It has almost the same amount of coverage, but it's not as heavy, it's not as thick, and it's not as cakey. I have been using this as like a powder concealer. You can wear it as a powder foundation, but I don't get much coverage from that. You can also use this to lightly set your makeup. Just use a very small amount and a fluffy brush to do that. As you can tell, I absolutely love this. I've hit pan, and I just don't know why I let this sit in my drawer for months, because I think this is better than the Makeup Forever. Another drugstore product that I was sleeping on for so freaking long is the L'Oreal True Match. People have been raving about this product for years since it was in like the old bottle with the silver cap, okay? I don't know if it's reformulated since then. So when they relaunched it in a different bottle, I wanted to try it out because people were raving about it. Again, I think I bought this during my drugstore makeup shopping haul phase of my channel, and it was just sitting for quite a while. I would use it and I liked it, but I wouldn't keep reaching for it over anything else. And this is why I don't like to do too many declutters, and I also highly recommend to keep things even if you don't reach for it that often. I know that's like the exact opposite advice that a lot of influencers give. I say this because if you have this determination to use what you have and enjoy what you have, over time, a product might fit into your life. So I go through phases with foundations a lot because my skin seems to always be changing. So some phases I will want a full coverage foundation, other phases I just want a freaking skin tint, and then other times I want something that's like lighter coverage, medium coverage. It really just depends on the phase of my skin, especially if you're someone like me who's very sensitive, acne prone. There's so many phases our skin goes through, and so currently I'm on this phase of wanting more medium coverage foundations that are lightweight, thin on the skin, but also match me pretty well. And so because of that, I have just been reaching for this every single time I do like full glam. It is just so reliable. It looks good no matter how I prep my skin. It has a natural satin finish, not too matte, not too glowy. I have it on my skin today. It doesn't feel too heavy. It isn't too cakey. It's just so easy to work with. And the shade match is pretty good. I will say it's a little too neutral for me, and I wish they had more olive tones. But other than that, the formula, like, this is what I would recommend for all skin types. I think if you have dry skin, you would like it. Oily skin, you would like it. Combo skin, you would like it. Even acne prone skin, you would like it. If you like medium coverage, of course, keep that in mind. I can see why this has been raved about, and I do not know why. I've just been letting it sit in a drawer. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, apologies in advance, the Chanel Le Beige Complexion Touch. I don't know if I've mentioned this on another video before, but holy moly, is this so worth the freaking hype for me personally. Is it overpriced? Yes, it's freaking $70. $70. So I understand why I didn't try this sooner, okay? And if you haven't tried it, I'm not gonna push you to try it, okay? For $70 is insane. What I would recommend to see if you would like something like this first is to try the CoverGirl skin tint that's very similar. It has like the same encapsulation and everything like that for like a fraction of the cost. I used that, I enjoyed it, but I wanted more coverage from it, so that's why I upgraded to the Complexion Touch. I do wish there was like an in-between mid-range brand that creates something like this, because this is the best skin tint I've tried, dare I say. Oh my gosh. Those are some strong words I'm using today. I do have commitment issues, so let me not say it's the best skin tint I've ever tried. It's one of the best skin tints I've ever tried, and I'm not a skin tint person because, again, acne prone skin here, which means I usually have zero makeup on or like medium to full coverage, and a lot of skin tints I use are just not it. So skin tints are not my thing until I tried this. This is literally like water with pigment for your face. That is basically what it is. It also is meant to be worn as a concealer to pair with their Water Fresh tint, I believe, but because I want more coverage, I use this all over my face for the summertime and for the warmer weather when I don't want a lot on my skin. This works beautifully because of the watery texture. It just sinks into my skin and it has that pigment to cover any redness. It doesn't cover blemishes, of course, just redness, and it evens out my skin tone in the most natural skincare way. It looks like what I wish my skin would look like if I had no acne scars, no redness, and just skincare and sunscreen on. It's not the most long lasting because, of course, it is a water-like texture, but it fades beautifully throughout the day because it's so thin it doesn't look cakey. And there are ways that you can wear this to make it last a little bit longer. I hate that it's $70, but I fear it was kind of worth it. I also got this for Christmas from my boyfriend's mom, which I was really surprised about because I've never owned an Artiste brush before. And this paired with the Chanel Complexion Touch, perfect pair. With a complexion touch, it's best to apply with your fingers or to apply with a super dense brush so you can get the amount of coverage you want. You don't want your brush to soak up all the product. So because this is so dense, it works well with the complexion touch to give me the coverage that I want. This is another product that you recommended to me in the comments. I read your comments. I read your recommendations. I love your recommendations. Most of you understand my taste. I think I take recommendations from you more than you probably take recommendations from me. Anyways, Can Make Tokyo Creamy Touch Eyeliner. I told y'all in one of my videos or multiple videos that I love tightlining my eyes now, and I'm really just on the lookout for a good eyeliner pencil that is going to last and not smudge at all or barely smudge. So I bought this because you told me to, and I love it. It is the skinniest eyeliner pencil. It is the skinniest eyeliner pencil I have ever used. It also is fairly long lasting. It's super creamy. Once it sets, it's barely budging. I will say though, it's not the most waterproof on my waterline or tightline. I still notice some slight transfer down here at the end of the day, but it's nothing crazy. I've had worse eyeliners in the past. Overall, this has been an improvement to what I was using earlier, which I don't recommend. So if you are looking for something that has minimal transfer, or if your waterline isn't as wet as my waterline, then I would recommend the Can Make, especially if you have very small eyes. This is super tiny, y'all, so tiny, so good, and so worth the hype. Now, if you were wondering, Elle, what are on your eyes? What is this bright blue teal? It's the About Face eye paints. Another rediscovery and something that I'm just like, why did I let this sit in a drawer for months and years on end? And it's just because I wasn't in a phase of wearing colorful makeup. I bought this with the intention of playing with colorful makeup. However, it just didn't happen. But now I'm in my colorful makeup phase, as you can tell. I ended up using the About Face Fluid Eye Paint in the shade Replicant on the inner corners of my eyes, and then I just have a sparkly eyeshadow on top. I was actually really inspired by Chappell Roan's recent interview. I think it was with Apple. I can't really recall, but it's on her Instagram, and she did like this gorgeous teal inner corner. So I reached for this, which I haven't reached for in a while, put it on my inner corners, put a sparkly eyeshadow on top, and I'm loving it. These are good products. I just love a good liquid product. I think that they're the most versatile. You can use them in a million different ways. You can mix them together to get different colors and different looks. So I'm really happy that I am reaching for these again. And if you haven't tried these but you want to play with color, I do recommend them. I have had them for quite a while too. I want to say like maybe a year and a half, and they haven't dried out or changed texture on me. I've also been wearing this for a few hours on my eyes, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's not cracking. And for a pastel liquid eye paint, usually the color tends to crack, but I don't really have that issue. I also have like a shorter, smaller crease. They have so many colors to choose from, but also the quality of these eye paints, I would say, are really great. Last but not least, the product I wish I tried sooner, BK Beauty brushes. If you have seen every influencer, every YouTuber, every content creator using these brushes, and you think that they're probably overhyped or they're only being promoted because people got them for free, you're missing out. I was gifted these to be transparent, but I do think they're so freaking worth it. And it's not just in terms of quality. There's a lot of high quality brushes similar to these, but the shapes of the brushes are what stand out the most to me. Real Techniques quality is very similar to the BK Beauty, so I'm not saying you can't get just as high quality brushes elsewhere. I've been using these for months. I have been testing them out and paying attention to if I reach for these more than other brushes I own, and I do. I definitely prefer these over a lot of the other brushes that I have, especially the Nikki Rose brush set. These are so worth it, and they're so different than what I already own or have owned before using these. So for example, there's the N117 or N17. This has two sides to it. I'm not gonna lie, when I got these, I was like, these are such a gimmick. I don't know if I, care to have a brush with two different sides on it. Excuse me, but I was wrong, because I do find myself myself using one side for powder and one side for cream, and I don't have issues with them kind of like mixing or meshing together in a terrible way. That was my fear when using this, and I wasn't sure how useful this was going to be for me, but it is very useful. I use it not only for blush, but also powder to set my makeup. So good. Then there's also the N16, and this is a concealer brush. It's like this mixture of a stippling brush, but it's tapered and it's also skinny, so it fits under the eyes, and it's also packed just the right amount, so when you blend concealer, you're getting just enough coverage. I have no words for this brush right here, but I love it. And then there is the N14, which looks like a typical kind of under eye setting brush, but it's smaller than usual. I have used this to blend cream concealer, but I have also used this to set powder. Now this brush is a little less unique, but I do really like it. It's the N15. I just use it for powder bronzer, and it's great. I also love all of their brushes from their core extension set. These brushes are a little bit smaller, which makes them so easy to use. I do prefer smaller brushes, by the way. So I have the brush 112, which is a smaller blush brush. So think your typical angled blush brush, but tinier. Haven't found a brush like this before, and it works so good for cream contour, powder contour, cream concealer, especially if you have like smaller cheekbones or you want to be more focused on where you apply your cream, liquid, or powder blush. Then we have the 111 brush, which does the same thing as the N15 brush. I use both of these for bronzers and they work just the same. It just has different, techniques to it, but it applies just the same. I also really love their 109 brush. Now they do have a bigger version of this brush that went viral. I don't like that one as much as this one because this is smaller. So I can use this to apply on liquid foundation, but I could also use it to apply liquid blush and cream bronzer. And I like it because it's smaller, it gives you more control. So these are just a few of my favorite BK Beauty brushes. If you're specifically looking for more unique style brushes, smaller brushes, and high quality synthetic brushes that are good for cream and liquid, I would recommend BK Beauty. Now the only thing I will say about the BK Beauty brushes that I don't like are their eyeshadow brushes. I don't reach for them as often. They're not my favorite compared to others, and I also am not a fan of like the really big brush sets. That's just a matter of preference. I don't think they're worse quality. I just don't use really large brushes. So learn from my mistakes. Don't sleep on these products. I do think some of them are totally worth the hype, but also some of them are severely underrated. And if you have products within your makeup collection that you haven't touched in a while, reach for them. See if your preferences have changed. You might fall in love with them. Again, thank you so much, Lumi, for sponsoring this video, and to all of you who support me. I wouldn't be able to get sponsorships like Lumi if it wasn't for you, so thank you for watching my videos. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!